Good afternoon, my friends. I just want to remind you that in approximately 1 hour and a little bit, 3 p.m. New York time or East Coast time, 12 noon California time, we're going to be back here doing a worldwide meditation for peace, coherence. You know about this. So please join us at 3 p.m. East Coast time. And tell your friends, invite your friends to join us live at 3 p.m. and tell the friends to tell their friends to join us. And if you like this idea, then please press the like button here and say that you like this idea and that you will help us reach a critical mass today. We are hoping for 1 million people live at 3 p.m. We're going to do a meditation for a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, joyful, and just world. But right now, I'm here with Tim Shriver. If you don't know who Tim Shriver is, then you've been sleeping for a long time. Tim, as you know, is the founder of Special Olympics. He comes from the great, illustrious Shriver and Kennedy clan, and I've known Tim for as long as I remember now, at least more than a decade.
I can't remember either.
And Tim and I have been talking about an idea for almost 10 years. In fact, because Tim is such a great, charismatic and influential leader, I've been trying to tell him for more than a decade that he should run for president. But he's such a modest person and he's not into self-aggrandizement that he's turned the offer down, even though I said I would work for him. But today we are very happy to share with you what we think is the beginning of a new movement. And we are calling this movement Unite. So Tim, what was the thinking behind this idea, Unite?
Well, first of all, thank you, Deepak, for the nice words, and thank you for the confidence and the mention of the Special Olympics movement and so many other important movements that are going on in communities around the country and around the world, I dare say. In some ways, we've been talking about running for big offices, but what we've really been trying to figure out is how do we catalyze a change in the way in which we think about each other, the way in which we think about ourselves in a time. Even today, there's great fear around the world. But even before today, even before coronavirus, so much anxiety crippling our children, so much anger dividing our country, so much fear of the future, paralyzing our capacity to move forward. And we've been talking, you've been leading in so many different ways around the world, ideas, experiences, practices that invite people out of that sense of division and anger and fear into a larger sense of unity and wholeness and hope. So in my work, if I think about it from the work I've done in schools where we've taught children empathy and nonviolence to solve problems, to end bullying, the kids come back to us and say, but Mr. Shriver, they say, we're not the bullies, the adults are the bullies. I can't disagree with them. And then I look at the work I've been so privileged to be able to see in the Special Olympics movement all over the world, where so many mothers and fathers were told that their children were worthless, of lesser value, don't belong. But those mothers and fathers knew something. They knew that was a lie. And they knew they could overcome it if they could just allow people to meet and connect at a deep level. And so we play games, but the games are just the surface. What's going on is people are overcoming their fear of difference. They're opening their hearts to the goodness and gentleness and giftedness of every human being. So even in the Special Olympics movement, we see all over the world these small examples of people believing that we can unite. So in the last year or so, as the country becomes more and more fearful and angry and anxious, we've noticed something quite different, which is a country starving for difference, starving for something different.
And the world.
The world, even the world. If you do a poll, you'll find Republicans and Democrats, rich, poor, black, white, people of color, gay, straight, you'll find them all saying, we're at loggerheads. But if you push, what they say is, we don't like it. We don't want to live like this. And so our view is that in some ways, what they're saying is, we've been lied to. When people tell us, if people tell you you can't get along with others, that you don't share a common hope, that you don't have a sense of a common purpose, that you're not connected deeply to others, that love doesn't animate your life. If people say that to you, I think we need to kind of stand up and say, you're lying. You're lying to us. If politicians say the only way to save this country is by hating someone else, if media figures say the only way to fulfill your dream is to destroy someone else's, they're lying. Now, we all have lots of different truths. This is our premise, and we all need to fight and believe in them deeply. But we could fight for the things that matter most to us in contexts and in settings that unite us, because there's a lot more that unites us. So our vision is that you, Deepak, will quit all of your jobs, stop writing books, and become the practice master of the laboratory, the collective of Americans, of people all over the world who want to identify the ideas that unite. But you're going to show us how to practice the art of presence, the art of communication, the art of seeing and understanding the dignity of the other, because you can't join with someone else who violates you, who humiliates you, right? It's counterintuitive. So you're the director of practice, and practice matters, by the way.
So I'm here to serve. What you just said lays the framework of where we want to go, and I want to share with you two things, two ideas. One comes from the wisdom traditions of the East. Where I come from, the part of the world that I come from, Northwest India, we say if you want to change the world, you have three things that you need to practically embark on. Seva, which means selfless service. Sangha satsang Sangha is a community which is looking for the truth, doesn't know the truth, but is looking for it, but has a clear idea what the truth is. And third is Simran, a spiritual practice. So if you have these three things, the Buddhists say it a little differently. They say refuge in the Sangha, which is the community, refuge in the Dharma, which is the higher purpose, and refuge in the Buddha, which is expanded consciousness or spiritual practice. They're saying the same thing.
Yes.
So what you're suggesting right now to me is we create a global community which is both online and offline, which puts three things into practice: service, spiritual practice, and an expanded awareness for higher consciousness that can heal America and heal the world. Now, earlier, before we came here, we were talking about what people are calling emergence. That when you have a group of people gathered together in the Sangha, whether it's these days the Sangha is the world right now in front of us. I can see that there are almost 1,000 people in the Sangha right now. Okay, so these days the Sangha is a worldwide community. But emergence, according to social scientists, happens when you have shared vision, when you complement everybody's strength, where you have maximum diversity of not only talent, skills, but thought, philosophers, scientists, neuroscientists, cosmologists, humanitarians, and religious people, spiritual people, just people who want to make a difference. When you have a group coming together with shared vision that has maximum diversity, they complement each other's strengths, they're emotionally and spiritually bonded as we are and as these guys are in our community right now globally, then magic happens. Consciousness, which is a field of infinite possibilities, which correlates everything that happens everywhere, all at the same time. It's not even interconnectedness, it's inseparability. So once we get there, this emergence will happen. And what you're saying, and what you've been saying to me for 10 years, let's make this practical.
Yeah.
So we were talking, how do we make this practical? And the first way we make it practical is for all our friends in the global Sangha that
Yeah.
we have here to join us, to share in this vision with us and with each other, to create your own global communities or regional communities, to connect with us. And we can be your home base and we can be your platform. We are here to serve. And so you had some very brilliant ideas when we were speaking this morning. You were talking about creating...
I got them all from your book, so it's...
You were talking on a very practical level what we can do. You said something like we can create something which would be more powerful than everybody joining forces even in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
That we could create the Silicon Valley for a better world.
For ideas that unite. I think it's so fascinating that you've opted to locate this in the great spiritual traditions of the East.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's super important that we remember that those folks who are part of the spiritual traditions of the West have the same teachings, right?
Yes,
You've written about these things.
The Gnostic Gospels.
Well, but even
and everywhere else.
Everywhere else. I mean, I know Christianity the best, but think of the admonition of the Good Samaritan. It is to meet the other, right? Think of the story where Jesus says, the Father, the Creator, and I are one. It's an invitation to the oneness, to the larger sense of consciousness. Think of the story of the prodigal son, which Christians all over the world read all the time.
And just the Sermon on the Mount, little sermon.
Yeah, you have heard it said, but I say love your enemies. Now, if we think of that spiritual heft, we don't have to separate secular from religious. You don't have to go to church or go to Sangha or go to temple or go to mosque. You can identify with these core truths, but we need these deep truths to inspire us, because otherwise people get despairing and they think they live in a meaningless universe and they're doomed. And it's a war of all against all. And we've been told that's the world we live in by so many people that people have started to believe it. And it's a lie. It's a lie scientifically. It's a lie neuroscientifically. It's a lie from the point of child development. We depend on each other. We get life from each other. Infants die when they're disconnected, right? So we are a species that depends on love and belonging for our very breath. And we need to restore the confidence that we have collectively in that truth and build a place where ideas that unite are supercharged. So Silicon Valley didn't exist 50 years ago. But a few people had one or two good ideas, went to one place and said, let's build an ecosystem, let's create a fund, let's get talent, let's scale ideas that can supercharge technology. And 50 years later, the world is different. 60 years ago, a president of the United States said, we don't know how to get to the moon, but let's get 45,000 engineers and put them to work as hard as they can and fulfill a dream. Now here we are. The world is scared to death, almost all of us, and we're divided and it's getting worse. Why can't we? We don't need a president, we don't need a prince, we just need ourselves to say, we are going to put ourselves to work to find the ideas that unite us and give them life just the way Silicon Valley gave great companies life, just the way President Kennedy gave the engineers and the astronauts and the NASA geniuses life. We're going to give ourselves, this collective life with consciousness. I mean, again, we don't have to play games with what matters. We know science anyway.
His family.
That's too much of me.
He's talking about John Kennedy. Tim Shriver comes from that Kennedy clan as well.
But it's shocking, and thank you for mentioning it, and I'm very proud of my family, but I find it shocking, the absence of that kind of vision from almost all of our, I don't mean good politicians don't try, good media figures don't try, good artistic figures don't try, but it's now our responsibility to stop allowing the alternate energy to dominate our hearts. I mean, you can watch it if you want to, you can read about it if you want to, you can turn on the TV at night if you want to and hear someone telling you that the future of the country depends on how much you hate the other party. Or you cannot choose to tune that in. And you can tune into your own energy that says, I can be freed of that. And that's a liberation. It's a freeing of your heart to actually believe again in what you deeply know to be your most honest truth.
So once again, my friends,
Okay.
I'm with Tim Shriver, and we're making a very important announcement. We're starting a movement right now. This moment is called Unite.
We just planned this an hour ago.
It's called Unite, and you are the first people
That's
to join
right.
this movement because, as Mahatma Gandhi said, we have to be the change we want to see in the world. Can you be the change you want to see in the world? And if you want to be that change, then join this movement. Use this hashtag Unite and tell your friends, and soon we're going to have a website, we're going to have influencers, but the major influencers are going to be you.
That's right.
And also, of course, other thought leaders and people who have unique talents and skills and ideas to offer, but the most important ideas are again going to come from you. So our goal right now is spread the hashtag Unite. We're going to start a website. We're going to ask you for ideas. We're going to encourage you to create your own sanghas. But we are also going to create a fund which will start at a grassroots level, but ultimately invite all the people in the world who can make any kind of contribution, whether it's their resources, their funding, their energy, their skills, their talents, their creativity, their vision. Let's keep that in mind. Maximum diversity, shared vision, complementing each other's strengths.
No binaries.
No binaries.
Splitting.
No splitting.
United.
And being the change we want to see in the world. If you like this idea, spread it. Let's make Unite a meme. So what's the next step? Tim, by the way, is one of the most connected people in the world in the realm of influencers, luminaries, scientists, politicians, philosophers. He's already been talking to a lot of people for the last many years. So our action plan right now is to spread the word, to invite influencers, invite you, and get your ideas and create a movement called Unite and move in this direction of healing America and healing the world. As we've said many times, healing the world. The word heal, the word holy, the word wholeness, and the word health, in a way, are the same word. Healing is the return of the memory of wholeness. So when you're holy, you're also healed. And we want you to be part of this process.
We have specific things we're asking for you to do today. The first is we want the ideas that unite, not the ideas that compromise, not the ideas that you have to feel like you concede your truth, but the big ideas out in the country and around the world that are just sitting on the sidelines because there's nowhere to go with them. Because where do you take an idea that unites? You take it to your politician? No. Do you take it to the Chamber of Commerce? Probably not. Where do you take it? Do you take it to your church? It's just your church. What about the ideas that unite? We need those ideas. Secondly, we need people. Who are the people you think, including you? We want average Americans of all ages, young, old, rich, poor, black, all that diversity. Who are the people who are ready to join in common purpose? Third, we need to figure out how to raise that whole idea of a big fund. People didn't get to the moon with no money. We didn't embark on the New Deal with no money. The civil society sort of revolution of the early 20th century didn't happen with no money. It happened with resources. So if you have ideas on how we can marshal common purpose and create a fund to unite, it would be amazing. And if you want to be in touch with us.
Yeah, so we're announcing an email right now. Have we created it? Have we created the email? So this email was just created right now for you. It's called hello@heal.us.
Hello@heal.us.
Okay, but that's better, .us. It's for the world, right? So
Yeah.
we're healing the world, healing us.
Yeah.
So hello@heal. Sorry, give a
hello@heal.us. We're
Once
very and this is the beginning. Trust me, I believe this from the bottom of my heart. We are not starting something new, but we are unleashing energy that's just ready to go. We need everybody's help, and I hope people will look back and say, that day when Deepak decided to go on Facebook Live with Tim, oh my goodness, not because of us, but because of you, a torrent of energy was released.
And we sparked a
Yeah.
revolution,
That's right.
an inner revolution for peace, social and economic justice, sustainability, health, joy, healing for all of us. A new world, a new paradigm. Once again, what's the
Hello at heal.us. We'll be in touch and we'll be back soon.
So write to
And
us.
join the meditation that's coming up soon.
3 o'clock
because-
East Coast time, 3 p.m. East Coast time. Join us for a global meditation. Thank you
Thank you.
and God bless.
God bless you.